Hello. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the 5th episode of Gaming Tonic. I'm your host, co-host, the Ordinary Joker, and I'm here with
Just Vince. Good day, everybody. Thank you guys for coming. It's wonderful to have you here. I hope you are ready for the show today. We are very excited to be here with our newest guest this week on the show. This is
Leeemur.
Hey,
yeah,
hey.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. It is great to have you here. So, for
yes.
those of you who don't know already, okay, Leeemur is one of my closest childhood friends. We've known him for a really long time. He's been in the majority of my family's Thanksgiving photos from the time that I was like 6 years old until I was about 14. He was always at our house for Thanksgiving and Christmas. He's in a bunch of our holiday photos and stuff like that. I've known Leeemur for a really long time. So, Leeemur, real quick, what we're going to do real fast is we're going to give you a chance to just tell us a little bit about your channel, what it is that you do, what it is that you're excited about that you're working on, why you got into content creation, all that stuff. So just give us a quick shout out about you and what you're about and what you've been working on lately.
For sure. Thanks for having me again. My name's Leeemur on Twitch. Kind of a variety streamer right now, but I mostly stream FPS games. They're like my bread and butter right now. I got into streaming. I've been streaming on and off for quite a while. I got into it because I used to watch a lot of Jim the Tatman, Summit, and I guess my thing about them is they always get me laughing.
Yeah.
And, that's just what I want to do for other people. I'm no way, shape, or form like super good, like competitive, like pro, but I think that I can make someone's day, every time I stream. So that's my thing right now.
That's awesome, and that's a
Hell
great
yeah.
reason to get into streaming. I think a lot of the people
Absolutely.
that we know and that we work with and that we stream with, do collaborations with, that sort of thing. I mean, we're all kind of cut from the same cloth, you know. We're not we're not the pro gamers. We aren't the people that are going to wow you with our gameplay skills. But I mean, we're here to have a good time and do this because it's what we love and we want to share that passion with other people. You know.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what it's all about. So we are a little bit excited today because we're going to be starting a new series here on the podcast for the first time. So Joker, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the series we're starting is going to be called The Games We Play. Basically, what we're going to do is go over a plethora of different gaming genres. We're going to give an intro on that genre, so like the history of it, and then we'll go into relevant games for that genre, talk a little bit about those, and then go into some opinions, how we feel about the genre.
Awesome.
Is it good? Is it not?
Do we like it? Do we want to continue to play these games?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there still any good games in this genre in some cases?
That's right.
Honestly.
And today we're going to be discussing FPS,
which is
I'm
an
excited.
exciting time. Yeah, that's one of
Yeah,
the
very
biggest
excited.
genres in gaming.
That's right.
So, real quick, Joker. So, if you want to just give us a quick shout out on what you've been working on this week, anything that's been going on with your content creation, is there anything that you've been excited about that's been happening recently for you?
Yeah. So we did the anime tier list on Thursday. That was fun. Played a little bit of Among Us.
Anime tier list?
Or anime OP tier list.
What is that?
We tiered different openings from different animes.
Oh, okay.
And it was really fun.
What was your number one? If you don't mind me asking.
I put the Pokemon theme song at S+.
Bro.
And then God, what was the other one? It was the Tokyo Ghoul theme song. I like that one. It was a bit biased.
Well,
How about you, man? What have you been up to?
This week I've been doing a lot of Guild Wars. Interestingly enough, I've kind of found a niche in that community that I did not expect to find there. I was just browsing through Steam for MMO games and stuff like that to try to find one that I hadn't played a whole bunch already. And I was like, oh, I haven't really given Guild Wars 2 a real go yet. And it's been awesome. The community is still alive and thriving. And there's been a whole bunch of people coming through and joining my stream and they'll run around in the game world with me because everything scales so everyone can just play together. And I've met a lot of incredible people. I mean, Wyvern Ripsnarl, I know how to talk, who was in the chat earlier, is actually someone who I met during one of my Guild Wars streams, and he was just in there hanging out. Yeah. So there's been a ton of new people that I've met in the community, and it's been a lot of fun doing that. Just something different besides what I usually play. So what about you, Harold? Have you been streaming anything different this week, or what have you been working on?
Been mostly streaming Warzone. That new zombie royale mode is actually super fun. And, there's jump scares in Warzone now, and it sucks. Yeah, traumatized every time I try and open up a box in there. But been doing that and some Teamfight Tactics from
Ooh.
Legends, just to chill around, trying to learn the new set.
Yeah.
What
And
rank are you?
like silver 3, silver 2 right now.
Silver
Better
3
than
too.
me.
Nice,
That's
dude.
okay.
Let's say. I tried Teamfight Tactics for all of like 5 seconds, but then I just went back to Hearthstone Battlegrounds because I'm basic. I am not familiar with Teamfight Tactics at all. I
I played
just
the beta. I haven't played in a while, but I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it's changed. So every set has been so different. It's crazy. So yeah, still trying to learn a new set.
awesome.
Yeah, dude.
That sounds cool though. I mean, glad that you're doing something different, a little bit more casual than Call of Duty, so that you can calm down a little bit after those COD matches. I mean, if you play anything like me when I play COD, it's frustrating. I mean,
Everyone's a cheater. Everyone's a cheater.
everyone is a
They're all
cheater.
hackers.
Seriously.
That's right.
Yeah.
Seriously. If you beat them, they're the worst. If they beat you, they're cheating. 100%.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's how it
Always
goes.
lag. So, speaking of which, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on our series, and this is the games we play chapter 1, and we're going over FPS games. Now, FPS games are is a genre that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, I love first person shooters. I mean, this was my like just after MMORPG games, because that's kind of what I was raised on playing, was like EverQuest, World of Warcraft, like a little bit of Guild Wars back in the day, like games like that. Like FPS was like the one that I went to right after that. And my first FPS really was Halo back on PC. Halo 1. And I remember loading into lobbies with my friends, and we would do, like, even if there was just 3 of us all hanging out playing Halo together, we would just run around with our battle rifles and with the, like, stupidly OP pistols, just, like, cross-mapping each other, and, like, it was just so much genuine fun, you know? Like,
Yeah,
so,
dude.
before we get started going over the history, like, so, Harold, what was the first FPS that you remember playing, just off the top of your head?
First one I remember is GoldenEye and the 64.
Bro.
64 GoldenEye.
Yes, we will be talking about that a bit.
I probably came over to your house and played that like a bunch of times with you guys.
Probably. About to say, I remember, yeah, because I'd be at my grandma's house after school, and Harold would bring over like his games that he had in his Nintendo, because he had different games than me, and plug them into my Nintendo, and then we would play games like all afternoon.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, Joker was there
Good
for
times.
that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
remembers. Were you born yet? Hold up. Hold up.
What year?
Hold up. That would have been 2000. How old was
2000.
Joker?
I was probably on the way or just out of the womb. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
I was a fresh baby.
Yeah, Joker was definitely there. Actually, a baby.
I was chilling. I was under the tree. The stork just dropped me off.
Perfect. He dropped you into the loving arms of our Nintendo 64 controllers.
Yep.
But like, for those of you who don't know, like a quick background with me and Harold, like I said, like we've known each other for such a long time, and like I want to tell a story real quick. I know this is a side note, and we're supposed to be like laser focused on our topic here, because that's the podcast and that's how we do it. Is we always stay focused and never go on tangents at all. But like, so the way that I met Harold / Leeemur, I'm gonna call him Harold because I know him as Harold. I will call him that. I will forget to call him Leeemur, but this is Leeemur. Check out his Twitch channel, by the way. But like, the way that I met him was he was riding around on his bicycle just up and down the street in front of my grandma's house. And I was like, oh, he's got a bicycle, right on, you know, because I didn't have a bicycle at the time. And he had a bicycle, and I was like, that's cool. He's got a bicycle. Obviously, he's someone cool. So what did I do? I picked up sticks nearby, and I started throwing them into the street at him. And what did he do? He jumped over his sticks on his bicycle, and I was like, this guy bangs. He knows. This 6-year-old dude knows exactly what's up. He's cool. He's going to be my friend. And after that, ever since then, we've been friends.
Yep.
The bunny hop over the sticks, dude.
Yeah.
Over the sticks.
So
That's crazy. I would have fallen.
yeah, same probably, as I still had not learned to ride a bike.
You know, people would be mad, be like, "Why is this guy throwing sticks at me?" You know. But back then, you're just
Yeah,
I was just like, I just gotta get over it. You know.
You're all. That's just my friend. He just does these things.
exactly. You love to see it. So for those of you who are grown adults, okay, out there struggling to make friends and meet new people, I highly recommend throwing sticks at bicyclists. Apparently, that's the key to gaining lifelong friendship. And that
Especially nowadays.
it worked for me, it can work for you. Am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, actually getting started with the topic that we're supposed to be on today. So we're talking about the games we play, and we're going to start with the history of FPS games. And this is something that like I hadn't looked too much into, like because I had known a little bit of the history of FPS games, but I never really like researched that heavily into it. And there's a lot of interesting information in here to me. So starting out, I mean, I'm taking it back to, and I mean, this isn't like the origin of FPS games, because there was a couple of like arcade FPS games I think are like original like PC games like way back in the day. like way back, and I can't remember the name of them. I think one of them was like Space Sim or something like that. Was like one of the
Yeah.
original like PC
Yeah,
games
that
that we
was
looked
it.
at. But we're sticking mainly to ones that people are going to recognize. So we're taking it back to May 5th, 1992, when Wolfenstein 3D came out. And this game was a banger when it dropped. I mean, it was FPS, so you were inside of your character, and you could see your gun in front of you, and it had very violent gameplay, and it had like interesting puzzles and some unique levels, like a different level design than what was common for that time period. And then you were just running around blasting Nazis. And that was the premise of Wolfenstein, you know? Like you run around and you blast
Who doesn't wanna
Nazis.
blast Nazis?
Exactly.
Get 'em.
Wolfenstein is still releasing games to this day. It is a well-respected franchise for a good reason. It's awesome, you know? And this is kind of what kicked off the FPS revolution, if you will. This is kind of where it all started and really birthed into what we have today. Because just after that, 1 year later, on December 10th, 1993, Doom came out. And Doom took everything about Wolfenstein, okay, and made it just a little bit better. All right, and how many times have we seen that in the game industry? Okay, I mean that's essentially what World of Warcraft did to like EverQuest, Ultima Online, RuneScape, if you will. All those games took everything that they had and made it just a little bit better and put a nice bow tie on it. And that kind of is what really pushed the FPS genre forward, because they added in things like verticality. So like they had like you could jump up to different platforms, and the puzzles were involved with verticality as opposed to just moving around on the same plane like you did in Wolfenstein. It had like some more complex level design and pushed that forward a little bit, and then also included some like slight horror elements, which I would even venture to say this is kind of where like the birth of the horror in games started, was also with Doom. But like you would have areas that were just completely dark, where like you couldn't see like hardly at all in front of you, and so you were just kind of like fumbling around trying to figure things out. And naturally, I mean, having anything related to demons like Doom is, which many of you know this, and I mean this was back in the early 90s, mind you, so this is still like a majority conservative Christian America here, Christian, Catholic, Protestant, whatever, you know, like whatever they were back then, like that was the majority of America at that time. So naturally all the religious groups were like, whoa, demons, that's a no from us, you know, where you stay away, you know. And I'll be honest with you, looking at something like that, I think that made all the gamers and all the edgelords that were, you know, listening to like 90s grunge music and everything like that, buying video games, I think that made them all the more hyped to buy Doom.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
They're like,
They're going against the grain.
Oh, you don't like it? I gotta check it out.
that's what I'm saying. My parents hate this. Sign me up. We're doing it because I'm hardcore. I'm punk rock, you know, and you love to see it. And that's kind of where like the FPS genre started and was really birthed, was like first with Wolfenstein 3D, and then Doom being like, okay, we see what you've done here, and here it is just a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
So, Joker, heading over to you. You want to tell us
Yep.
about the next one that came up on our list?
Yes. So 3 years later, following Doom, we had Quake, which was in June 22nd, 1996, the successor to Doom from ID Software. That campaign was both single player and co-op, and then it had a multiplayer that had up to 8 players. That was like the first online shooter, right?
I mean, I would definitely say the
what-
most popular.
Yeah, like they that's where all the tournaments started and all that, isn't it? Quake had huge pull. Yeah, it also brought about the popularity of rocket jumping, strafe jumping, and bunny hopping into the FPS genre.
Yeah. And I mean,
then, sorry?
I mean that specifically is something that I want to touch on, because I mean that was 1996, and bunny hopping and like strafe jumping, all that stuff, that's all things that are used commonly in professional esports today, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, I don't play a lot of Counter-Strike, but I know that there's like entire like custom maps in the workshop and stuff like that that you use to practice those mechanics specifically.
Jump
Mhm.
maps, yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bee hopping, dude.
Yeah, and I mean
That's crazy.
it all started there in 1996. People playing Quake. It's wild, man. You can keep on going on the list.
I got them.
But
So after that, we had GoldenEye, or you know what? That was a year before. GoldenEye was a year before,
oh, we
1995.
have it backwards. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, we had a little backwards here, but
We've done the math.
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We're really good with
Calculated.
numbers.
This was the first major console shooter,
Mhm.
and one of the first shooters to feature stealth elements, which is POG. We also see those elements in all kinds of games today. What's Golden Gun game mode? I never played GoldenEye,
Oh.
so
Ooh.
yeah.
You want to take this one, Harold? I say you mentioned
Yeah, let me-
GoldenEye earlier, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
take it.
That's the one where you have one bullet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one bullet. Yeah, it's a pistol, one bullet. you pretty much it's a fairly large map, but you gotta go around looking for each other. And you got that one bullet, it's a one shot kill, and it's pretty much just you miss, and gotta run at each other with a knife after that if you miss. Or
That's actually a really cool idea.
fun.
Yeah.
Like, have we seen that in another game since then?
So Valorant actually has a golden gun that you can pick up on the map, and as long as you get a
Oh, wow.
kill, it returns a bullet to the magazine, which I believe was in this game mode as well. I mean, you might have to check me on this. There were a couple of different like modes that you could use the golden gun in GoldenEye, but the premier mode was one person had the golden gun and they were fighting everyone else. And the golden gun person could pick up armor, but no one else could. But they could use whatever other guns, but it was a one-shot kill if you got hit with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that sounds super fun, honestly.
Valorant does have the golden gun in the what's it? Spike Rush. That's what it's called. The game.
yeah, Spike Rush.
And then, the older Call of Duties had the one in the chamber mode too.
Mhm.
Where if you it's same thing. If you had a pistol, one shot, you miss, you gotta go to your knife and kill someone. If you kill someone with your knife, then you get a bullet back, and then you just keep going like that.
I'm gonna
Got
need
you.
that in Cold War.
I mean,
see that.
it wouldn't surprise me to see it. All right. So Harold, do you want to go over the next couple here?
Yeah, sure. So after that, November 19th, 1998, we have Half-Life. Now,
Oof.
Half-Life, you know, one of Valve's earlier games, right?
Yeah.
Super strong narrative. No cutscenes, so you're just playing through the whole game. You're figuring out all these puzzles. First person, so you're the person walking around picking up stuff. You pick up guns. You have that like gravity gun to move stuff around.
Mhm.
Yeah, the entire story is told from the first person. So, um, yeah, that game was super popular because again, great story, right?
Yeah.
But
And
oh, go ahead.
well, just something I wanted to add on to that. Like speaking about the idea of having it being told in the entire like first person the whole time. I think there were a couple of cutscenes throughout the game, but they were very short and like not like the main cutscenes for the game. The majority of the story is told while you were in first person. And this is something I want to touch on because nowadays this is something that developers are touting as a feature of their game is like there aren't cutscenes that you're going through. It's like you walk up with your character and you're in the scene and it's happening around you. Like the most recent God of War game, I don't know if both of you played that or not.
Yeah,
but
I
like
played that one.
that was something that had a really heavy emphasis on the idea of you just walk up and these events are happening around you and you're in it. They were cutscenes, but like it was seamless. And I think this is really where that type of storytelling started, where it was like this immersive, like you walk up and there's things actually happening in the world around you.
Yeah.
And I feel like when people think about first person shooters and like they think about the multiplayer side of it, they think about the competitive aspect, they think about esports, they think about like your ranked games and improving your skill and all that stuff. But like the first person shooter genre really opened up the door and pushed like gaming forward in a big way in so many areas that I think are kind of overshadowed by like the third person narrative driven story games today. And we kind of forget that this is where things like this started.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
Yeah.
Way back in Half-Life.
Yeah, way back with Half-Life in 1998.
Yeah, right.
I didn't even know it came out then. I had no idea it came out that long ago. That's wild.
Yeah.
All right, you're good. Sorry. Just had to add that in.
I remember.
And then from Half-Life spawns Counter-Strike 1.6 in November 8th, 2000. Now, this was a Half-Life mod. So it was a mod first of Half-Life where they brought in the role-playing scenario of acting on terror, which is the bomb defusal part
Mm-hmm.
or the hostage taking. And it was just a mod
Mhm.
that people were just playing, they really enjoyed, and they're like, we want this on its own. So yeah, Spawn 1.6, arguably one of the first FPS games to have like a really wide participation in competitive esports. Because Quake did have a pretty good esports like following and like participation, but Counter Strike 1.6 I think was like pretty like worldwide, like so many like European teams versus NA, like the sprout of that like rivalry, you know, and the prize pools were huge.
Yeah.
And you had, like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people going to arena just to watch a Counter Strike tournament in like 2000s, like early 2000s. So that's why Counter Strike 1.6 is so like popular. It's like easy to follow. You know what's going on. It's super. You have like good announcers, like commentators, commenting on tournaments, helping people enjoy the experience much more. Because sometimes people just open up a tournament and they're just like, "Oh, this guy's like killing this guy. That's cool. Like he has good aim." But
Yeah.
commentator that'll like say, "Oh, this was a big bang play because he threw this grenade this way to push him this way so that he could peek him easy." You know, all that stuff. I
Mhm.
like. I have a hard time like wrapping my head around sometimes, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Same.
makes it so much
Yeah.
more like immersive when you have a commentator like that. And then I think that just like blew up Counter Strike that much more.
And like, fun fact, I just looked up Counter-Strike on Twitch because I was curious how many people are still like watching and playing this game. I don't have the Steam charts information, but just watching like OG Counter-Strike right now, it has 3.9 thousand viewers on Twitch. I mean, that's wild.
That's a good amount of people. And there's no tournaments going on right now either. It's just casual play, right?
Yeah, and this game
3.9.
came out in 2000, 20
Man.
years ago.
Like, I can't think of any game
That's
besides maybe
crazy to-
RuneScape that has like that kind of longevity.
These dates are kind of blowing my mind because even to the oldest game we have on this list, as far as the history goes, I was only 3 years old. So like,
You
I'm
mean
kinda
the
like,
the newest game we have? The newest game, right? Not the oldest.
oh yeah, the newest game we have, 2003. Jeez, dude,
It's insane, you know?
I'm a
And
young sprout.
and we move forward from Counter-Strike to Halo. And this is my OG FPS. I mentioned that earlier. This is where I got my start in FPS games, was like playing in custom lobbies. Everybody set up with like their LAN, like their Ethernet hooked up to the modem, and we're all like playing LAN matches and like all just like crowded in my kitchen, and there's like barely room to walk and stuff like that. And I mean, Halo is, I think, where a lot of people got their start in FPS that are from our generation. Honestly.
yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
and
it's either Halo or Counter Strike.
yeah.
It's like two. That's the two.
Yeah. And I would say like more for like probably PC players was probably more Counter-Strike, and then for like more console players was probably more Halo if you had an Xbox. I was on PC but never played Counter-Strike anyways. Like I hadn't tried it. I didn't have Half-Life, so I couldn't have access to the mod when it came out originally. And then I didn't purchase the game because like I only had whatever games my parents bought me because I was like 10. But
Yeah.
like Halo came out November 15th, 2001, and was actually originally an RTS game, a real-time strategy game. Similar to
That's
like,
actually,
Is that?
Did-
Oh wow, I didn't actually not know that.
yes,
did they
it
ever
was.
full release that?
I mean,
feel
they
like
did
that was-
Halo Wars as a strategy game, but that was
Oh,
much
yeah.
later on.
Right.
But like the original Halo was designed to be a real-time strategy game, and then it was revamped to be a third-person shooter. Okay, and was revealed at like, I think it was the 2000 E3 as a third-person shooter. It was either 2000 or like early 2001 as a third-person shooter. And you know when you hop into the vehicle in Halo that you're in third person, like driving the vehicle around, like for the tanks and the warthogs and all that stuff, but not for the banshees. And then it was like Bungie was acquired by Microsoft, and it ended up being released as a first-person shooter. Just like a little bit
That
of
was the
like
way to
fun,
go.
interesting history there.
Good job, Microsoft.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know, right? They took it the right way.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like an RTS now that the game is actually like as solidified as it is, I think they could make something like that work.
well, I mean, they have Halo
think-
Wars.
Was Halo Wars like super popular though?
I mean, not super popular, but popular enough. I mean, it was
Sounds
one of the
cool.
only console RTS games. What were you gonna say, Harold?
No, I was just. You guys are talking about Halo Wars, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and like we've seen it release, but I don't think it was super popular. It was something that a lot of people asked for. They asked for a Halo Wars 2. There's actually been 2 games in the series, I believe, so far. Halo Wars
Okay.
1 and 2, and they did a remaster and released that on Xbox One as well. And like it's one of those games that had like a cult following. I don't think it was big enough to warrant all the resources that they spent on it, but it was kind of like, this is a love letter to our fans who want this. That's how I
Yeah.
see it, you know? And it might have
I
sold
think that's
enough.
cool.
I mean, I don't
I
have
like
the
that.
actual numbers, but yeah. I mean, I think that there's definitely more room for RTS games on the market, and we definitely don't see enough. Even as somebody
Yeah.
who doesn't play them, I think that that's a genre that's incredibly underrepresented nowadays because it kind of got taken over by MOBAs. But
Yeah.
Yeah, that we can get into that, dude.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
a whole other topic I can talk about.
RTS game that's even relevant now is StarCraft 2, right?
yeah, pretty much. As far as I know, StarCraft 2.
Tournaments for it, but it's nowhere near as much following as MOBAs, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as much as I like love Halo, and I could sit here and talk about Halo for probably hours on end, we've got Call of Duty up next on the list. The first Call of Duty game came out October 29th, 2003, and this is, I mean, if Halo wasn't already considered the renaissance for first person shooters, which I would consider it that, but for the people who didn't get to experience Halo, I would say Call of Duty was that renaissance. And then again, Modern
Yeah,
Warfare, when that released, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, kind of did it again. And it's Call of Duty as a series is really interesting to me because I don't think we see many series reinvent the genre twice.
mhm.
And it started here, back in 2003, and it was a historical adaptation for FPS games, as opposed to like the alternate reality that Wolfenstein was, or the like somewhat futuristic like hellscape that Doom was, or like the alien planets that Halo was. And this took it back to like your Medal of Honor style like Call of
Oh,
Duty. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
which Medal of
I think
Honor isn't on this list, but honorable mention. You were gonna say?
yeah, this is probably my first shooter was World at War, I believe. So for me,
Oh
like
gosh.
this is what Halo or yeah, this is what Halo is to me. Like it's the same shooter that got me started with shooters, and
Yeah.
it's still alive to this day. It's interesting.
And Call of Duty had like a more fast-paced gameplay when it released than most of the other games of the genre. Counter-Strike 1.6 was a little bit slower paced. Halo like didn't have a sprint mechanic, but the movement was generally fast, and they had vehicles, but even still, like the like on foot wasn't as quick. And then it was, I mean, arguably the most popular franchise in the genre. It kind of like started off the console esports scene in 2006. So
Mhm.
like this is the history of these FPS games and where it all started. And this is kind of like where everything that we have today took from these games and improved upon it continuously. And you have so many series that started all the way back then that are still alive and kicking to this day. You've seen things like Counter-Strike go on to release Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is arguably the most massive esports scene short of like MOBA games like League of Legends, which still has a huge scene. I still think Counter-Strike is bigger, correct? Do you know, Harold?
Counter Strike, I believe Counter Strike has a bigger scene or bigger like prize pools and stuff like that than
Yeah,
League of Legends, but Dota 2 has the biggest esports
I was gonna say that
now. Like as
Wow,
of now, Dota 2 has the biggest
Dota 2 is the
oh,
sleeper.
following, yeah,
man.
biggest
So
participation.
So FPS games that still have relevance today. I mean, this is kind of the next like section we're moving on to, moving out of the history. And the first game on our list is Modern Warfare. I mean, this is
Mhm.
this is the most recent entry in the Call of Duty series, like not counting obviously the one that's about to release in a couple of weeks, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Needs more names, needs more words in the title. Like and like Modern Warfare has been, again, I mean, kind of a bit of a renaissance for the FPS genre. This is where a lot of the Call of Duty fans that I spoke to wanted the series to go back to. And I think I want to
Mhm.
get both of your opinions on this, like one after the other one.
Okay.
Like when you were looking at Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the trailer for the first time, and you saw that trailer and you were like, this is what we've been asking for so long. There's no jetpacks. There's no double jump. There's no like, crazy shenanigans that have found their way ever since Titanfall came out back into the Call of Duty franchise. We're not fighting people in space. We're not doing anything
Yeah.
like that. This is modern boots on the ground Call of Duty. This is what we've been wanting, you know? Like
Mhm.
and you saw that, and then you're here a year later and everybody complains about Call of Duty constantly and everybody kind of hates it. Like I,
Right.
I want to get a little bit of your opinion on like your first impression when you saw the trailer and you played the beta for the first time, and then your opinion now. So you want to kick this off, Harold? You can start this and then pass it on to Joker. I want to know
Go
how you
for it.
feel about it.
Um, yeah. So when it first came out, I think when I first saw it, I was super excited because yeah, I was super into the boots on ground, no shenanigans, Call of Duty. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. I loved every game. I probably played all of them up until, was it Advanced Warfare was the first one that had all that like jetpack, double jump, space stuff.
I
I
believe
think
so.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even bother like picking it up. I was just like, oh no, I'm not gonna be interested in this at all because that's not Call of Duty to me.
Mm-mm.
Um, but I mean, also having Warzone come out on Modern Warfare, I was super excited for that too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that helped the game a lot as well. Just having a battle royale mode to compete against like PUBG and all the new ones coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then now, I still like the game. I don't campaign to I the only thing I think that people hate the most about Modern Warfare is that it was created by such a big company and so much people, there's so much support for it, yet there's so many bugs every patch. And like dude, like you can't have a AAA game and have a bug every patch. That's like that really affects gameplay. Like I'm not talking about like little bugs. I'm talking about like you can't see your gun, or like or you can survive in the gas forever with this like glitch in the game and pretty much can't play the game or can never win, or like stuff like that. It's like you can't have those things, and it's like, you know, you expect so much from a franchise so big, and you get so
That
many problems with it. You just become so frustrating to play.
yeah.
Telling me you don't want the finger guns? The invisible gun?
Or like
That sounds pretty lit.
have you guys played the glitch where it's like all like if you pick up someone else's gun, it's like super spiky and it gets in your way. You literally can't see anything
Oh,
else.
the texture thing where it's
Yeah,
like
texture glitch where you
I've seen videos of that.
can't see anything, and it's like how do you supposed to play the game if that happens? You know.
Yeah, that one's absurd.
But I think that's my opinion on it. Like it's a good game. It's a good game to the core.
Mhm.
But having so many bugs coming from such big companies that are backing this game, that it's just frustrating to play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I feel.
S-
What about you, Joker? What do you think about it?
So my initial thoughts were that it was going to be essentially a nicer looking old Modern Warfare clone. Like that was what I wanted out of it, and I guess they kind of did do that with remastered. But I've never been a huge Call of Duty guy, so my expectations are always pretty low about those kind of games, anyways. And I played it when it came out, and I had a lot of fun with it. And I think as time went on, there were just for me, I feel like it wasn't the amount of fun I was having. It was just those like those those bugs and stuff that you were talking about, Harold. Like I just couldn't stand, for one, the size of it.
Oh my,
I hate how large that game is.
uh,
That's
200,
my Yeah,
200.
that's like my biggest gripe with the game, honestly. Um and then kind of a me problem, but I feel like that game just runs like dookie on my PC, so like I don't enjoy that part very much either. But when I'm playing with friends, I actually have a really good time with that game. I can't play it alone because I will freak out and have to go for a walk or something,
Mhm.
but otherwise, like, I respect the game. I think, like you said, Warzone, huge revolutionary thing. Like, we've had BRs, but the way that they did it was completely, I wouldn't say completely unique, but it was different, They did
Yeah.
it in a different way, and we've never seen that in Call of Duty before. So that alone is just a huge kicker. That's pretty much how I feel about the game, though.
All right, guys. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Call of Duty anyways, if you guys know me at
Yeah.
all. But I mean, I'm still going to weigh in on this because and I say this a lot. I mean, if you ask me about Call of Duty on stream, you've probably already heard this opinion. If you've asked me about it in Discord or in private conversation, I give the same opinion to everybody. I think that Modern Warfare is one of the best shooter games that has come out in probably the last 5 years that we've seen. I think it's an incredible game. It's incredibly well made, but it's marred by Activision's inability to actually take care of what players care about. It's things like Harold said with the bugs, like the big issues, the things where you pull up someone else's gun and like the textures are all wigging out and you can't shoot, you can't ADS. There's people allowed to like use a stim to stay alive permanently in the zone. So you get a final circle and you and your buddies have like 10 kills each, and it's been the game of your lives, and you're so excited to upload the like NVIDIA capture highlight or whatever, of like your last fight. And there's some dude, and you die and you can see the kill cam, and this dude's just like out there where he landed in the zone with a stim, 0 kills. Between the squad, him and his buddies all staring at each other, all patting each other on the back, giving each other butt pats. They're all excited because they're stimming each other, and it's like, and it's incredible, like, and that's the game, and it's a game that good marred by issues like that. And I'm gonna bring up something else that's like a little bit techie here, but it's tick rate. And for those of you who aren't familiar with tick rate and what it does, it's basically a server's tick rate is the amount of times that it updates your location and the location of like the bullet that you shoot and your enemy's location. And basically it's how often the server is pinging your location as you're moving around. So when you're shooting people and you're getting hit markers, but it's not doing any damage to them, Okay, and you're not getting any sounds of like you're actually hitting them. It's just like showing the hit marker, but you're not doing any damage. I mean, that's because the server tick rate is too low. It's not picking up where they are actually at, where your bullets are actually supposed to be. And Call of Duty servers have a 12 hertz tick rate. That's the lowest of any game that I know of. For reference, Valorant servers.
Go ahead.
Valorant servers have 120 hertz tick rate. Okay, for theirs. I think Counter-Strike baseline is 60, unless you pay for the better service.
Yeah, and 120 for the better ones.
120 if you pay, okay? And then even Apex Legends has 24 hertz tick rate servers. And then you have Call of Duty Modern Warfare with all of the money and all of the resources that Activision has, and you have 12 hertz tick rate servers.
That's stinky. That's really stinky. I didn't know that.
That game is like the most recent one to come out.
Exactly.
Out of all the ones we talked about, right?
Exactly. So where's the excuse? You know?
There is none.
It's the spend money, it's the don't spend money, only make money mentality coming from Activision. And they have the money. They could have done this. Call of Duty, one of the arguably the most successful shooter franchise in history. They have the resources to do this, and they haven't done it. And chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that their most recent Pro League was also played on these terrible servers. Because they weren't able to do LAN events due to COVID. I believe it was my mod Grinth Live that told me that, and he's the only one that I know that really pays attention to the COD Pro scene, so he can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I'm about 90% sure that that's true, and like it's insane to think about. You know, you're professionals for the game, the version of this game that you show to everybody to be like, look at what these people are doing. This game plays awesome, and they're playing on these terrible servers.
Yeah, that's AIDS.
Right. It's not even like they don't have like a template where it's like, oh, I didn't know to like have faster tick rate servers so that our game could run smoother.
We didn't know our players wouldn't want to experience lag while they're playing.
Can't feign that.
Well, the past 20 years have been on better servers than this. Like,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Know, they've been making essentially the same game for so many years now. You think they would figure it out by now? Nope. Not today.
I'm not worried about support. That's
yeah, exactly. The art team is popping off. Incredible artwork. I mean, the set pieces and everything for Call of Duty Modern Warfare have been incredible. The campaign was fantastic. I thought it's been the best Call of Duty campaign that we've had probably since, I would say, what was the last really good one? Yeah, probably. I really like Black Ops 2 campaign too, as well, personally.
I never played that one.
But yeah, I mean, I would say Black Ops 1 or 2, like probably since then. Have you played the Call of Duty campaigns, Harold?
I think the last campaign I probably played was Black Ops 2 as well. Because I did pick up Black Ops 3, but I only played multiplayer.
I think it only had multiplayer. Was it Black Ops 4 that was multiplayer only?
I think Black Ops 4 was multiplayer only.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And again, I didn't bother with Advanced Warfare because trash.
Yeah.
What about Call of Duty Ghosts?
I did like Ghosts a bit.
I don't think I picked up Ghost.
I did play Ghost. I think that was the one that launched with the PS4.
Yeah.
Turned off by Call of Duty games after Advanced Warfare. I did not look back until Modern Warfare Remastered. So.
Oh, okay. So you pretty much missed that entire section of Call of Duty lifetime.
Yeah. I know Ghost was poorly received, but the campaign I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was really fun.
Is that the one where really early on you're in a suburban area and there's earthquakes happening and stuff like that, and the entire thing is
they launch these orbital freaking they're not even missiles, they're just these javelin things, but they're coming in from orbit so hot they just destroy everything, and it's crazy. They take over the world, and I don't know. I don't want to spoil the campaign or anything, but yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah. And I think that that's one thing that's been kind of par of the course for the Call of Duty games. As much issue as I take with their servers and everything like that, the progression systems that you have in the Call of Duty games, and then also looking at the campaign and the set pieces that they produce and all of the art team and all of that, in my opinion, they carry the series for me. I mean, whoever it is that actually works with the gun mechanics, I think that each gun having its own individual recoil in this most recent Call of Duty, and all that stuff, everything they did with the gunplay, I think was absolutely incredible. The campaign was fantastic. All of the voice acting and the entire team behind the motion capture and all of, again, I can't say enough good things about the set pieces and the environments that you walked through. It was so well done.
Yeah.
You know, just get better servers, please.
Yeah, that's it.
The game is great. Just fix bugs and have better servers.
Exactly. Yeah. And have you guys played the Cold War beta?
I did.
I have not. So I'll leave that up to you guys.
You
Did
did?
you play, Vince?
I did
I
not.
did, yeah.
I did not. So tell us your opinion about it, because being the only person that played it, and then I'll tell you why I didn't play it.
I thought it was cool. I liked that they went back to like that Black Ops era a little bit. I don't know like the tick rate or anything like that, but like objectively, just from running around and shooting people, I had a pretty good time.
So there's a couple of things that made me hopeful for this entry in the series, mainly the fact that when you drop shot, it removes your ADS. So everybody in your lobby won't just be drop shotting constantly. I think they also nerfed the like ability to jump shot around corners and stuff like that a bit. So like a couple of things that would frustrate me in Call of Duty. Like when I was still playing Call of Duty and playing Warzone for like the 2 weeks that I played it and gave it a real shot in the last like month and a half, I finally like downloaded it and really grinded it and like tried to get good at it, and actually got pretty good at it. I managed to rack up like I think 18 wins in Warzone with the squad that I was running with over the course of about 2.5 weeks. And I mean, just playing like, 4 nights a week after work or whatever, like, and as someone who's not like an incredible FPS player, like that feels good to me. It's a decent number of wins. I did okay. I was pulling about 5 to like 12 kills a game was usually where I'd land. And like, and the amount of people that had a harder time killing me when I would drop shot, okay? Like I started winning like 60% more fights as soon as I started pushing the button to go prone every time I would shoot at somebody.
I hate drop shotting. Like it's like so frustrating to play against for me.
Yeah.
That's totally real.
My brain too small.
They just disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
Goopy.
Yeah, like I hate it. So like obviously these changes, I look at that and I'm like, that looks awesome, Like it's something different that they're changing. They're removing the ability to drop shot, and I think that that's like an interesting development for me, changing up the meta of the game a little bit. But when I went to try the beta, okay, because the beta was what, last weekend, correct?
Yeah. For PC, it was last weekend. Well, I think they did it for all of them, including.
Yeah, it was like
PC
4 days.
Yeah.
It was like Thursday through Sunday or something like that. And
Right.
like when I went to try the beta, I load up the game and it's like beta access now if you pre-ordered. I was like, probably not. Sorry, Activision. There's just no way. And then they did an open beta, I think 2 days later. But I mean, like I had one night out of my week where I saw the beta was happening and I went to load it up and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot, if beta's going on. And then I couldn't play it because I didn't pre-order. And I'm not going to pre-order another Call of Duty game. I just can't. I've been burned too many times. I've been disappointed too many times.
Yeah. I like it, but I don't like it that much. Like I think I'm gonna sit on it for a little bit before I actually buy it.
Yeah.
They definitely they slowed it down. It feels slower. Doesn't feel like everything's happening so fast, in my opinion. Yeah.
And
I don't know.
That's interesting to me because like my understanding was that Modern Warfare was intended to be a somewhat like more methodical take on the Call of Duty genre where you're not just running and gunning the whole time.
I mean, it's still that same like run and gun, but there's like little things they did that made it feel like not as run and gun, like removing the ADS on the drop shots and stuff like that. It really, I don't know. Maybe it's just my play style. I found myself just kind of sitting in the back with a sniper most of the time.
Maybe Joker's actually a grandpa at video games. And
yeah, I mean, this is confirmed. We know that. I got the old guy reactions.
Yeah, and I mean, but the availability to do that, and I heard they changed some like quick scoping and stuff like that, but like at this point, I mean, Black Ops Cold War is a wait and see for me. And I've talked to a lot of friends who are really excited about the game and they're hyped about the direction that it's taking, and they love Black Ops, the series in general, like that specific like subgenre of Call of Duty, if you will. They love the Black Ops series and they're really excited about where it's going, and good for them. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you play it. I hope you love it, But that's going to be one that if I purchase, I will purchase with WoW Gold that I will buy Battle.net currency with, and then like I will buy Call of Duty that way. I will not spend my own hard-earned cash on another Call of Duty game. I just can't do it. It's been too many times, and I've been too disappointed and too let down, and there's too many other options.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And speaking of other options, arguably the biggest new option this year, one of the hottest games to land in, I would say, the last 10 years, probably, that is a new IP for first-person shooters, Valorant.
Pretty big.
And this is a game that I know we've all spent some time on in some capacity. Even Joker with his grandpa reflexes has played Valorant. Yeah, I did see some of your Valorant streams.
And won some games, may I add. I popped off a few times with grandpa reactions.
Yes.
It's possible. Keep the faith, boys.
Like to hear.
So, have you guys played ranked in Valorant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of you. What rank are you? Harold first.
I got up to plat
Ooh,
something, plat, low plat, plat
low.
4, 5,
Hey,
4, 5.
dude, low plat is diamond in my heart. Okay, like you're cracked out of your mind by my standards. What did you get to, Joker?
Uh,
We should have had you go first. Is that
like yeah, like maybe silver something.
so?
Mhm.
So I played ranked in the beta. I qualified into silver 2 during the beta, whenever that was. I mean, that was, we're talking like 6 months ago at this point.
Mm,
Because I think it was like March, April was beta, right around there.
right.
And then full
Yeah,
release in May, I believe. I mean, y'all can fact check me if I'm wrong. It's fine. But like, and I qualified into silver 2, and I didn't play another game because that was higher than where most of my friends qualified, and I was like, I've done good here. I feel accomplished. That's good enough for me.
Dragon rights. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. And then full release happened, and I was already tuned out of Valorant by that point. I mean, this isn't my style of game personally. You know, I think it's an incredible game. They have great servers, like I mentioned, and that's one of the biggest things for me. But like that, like all of the micro skills and everything that you have to be aware of, and all of the different character abilities and everything like that. Like, I genuinely have realized that and I mean, I'm not that old. I'm only 25 here. I'm not, you know, it's not grandpa hours yet, but like, I don't want to sweat this hard when I'm playing video games. That is the sad realization that I've come to, is that I do not want to have to try this hard when I'm playing. I just want to have fun with my
Yeah, man.
homies. You
I
know?
feel that 100%. That's kind of why I went away from Valorant, because I got grandpa brain. I'm a big casual grandpa brain, and that game is not meant for casual grandpa brains. That is for
Yeah.
young competitive brains, okay? I get smoked, and I'm just trying to have fun. And that's more infuriating than anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I'm the try hard sweaty boy of this group then, because I played a ton of ranked in Counter Strike, CS:GO. So when this came out, I was so excited because I was getting, Counter Strike was getting a little dry for me playing the same thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But Valorant, I was so excited for, because literally the same gameplay as CS:GO, and you throw in characters with abilities, and it's just that much more to think about. And I like that competitive side of shooters for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grinded Valorant for a while. I think it's weird, in beta I placed like silver, but when official rank came out, I placed like gold 5 or
Oh,
gold
nice.
4. And
Nice.
I grinded it up to plat, and yeah, it's been fun. Um, I mean, what? How long did Riot tease this for? Like 5 years?
Something like that. Yeah, it was a long time.
I don't
Project.
even think I heard about that game until you talked to me about it, Vince.
Oh
I remember,
gosh.
I think you were the one who informed me of it on one of your streams a while back.
Yeah, because the only teaser they gave about it like 5 years ago was Riot's making a shooter. They didn't say
Mm.
what kind. They didn't say if it was gonna, because Overwatch was out, right?
Yeah,
Around
Overwatch had been out. Yeah.
season, so
Yeah.
they're like, are they trying to take down Overwatch? Are they trying to take down CS:GO? Like, what are they going for a battle royale? Like, what are they doing?
Hmm.
And then when it got closer to beta, and they released the gameplay, and it's like, oh, it's like CS:GO, and I was like, oh, I'm playing that. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's been really cool for me. I thought it was really interesting. For Valorant, the pro scene, actually, a lot of players from Counter Strike, pro players Counter Strike, are switching to Valorant because it's the up and coming game,
Yeah.
and you're talking like big names like this guy Scream.
Hmm.
He's an amazing CS:GO player. Just got onto, I think he's on Team Liquid
Um,
or Valorant.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't really follow the scene, but like Hiko.
Yeah.
Hiko, yeah, Hiko's a super big name from Counter Strike, is on 100 Thieves
Hmm.
or Valorant. Yeah, there's a lot of. I guess the skill transfer is there for that game. It's literally the same game. You just have to learn abilities and how to play against it.
Yeah.
And
Is
yeah,
And I'm gonna touch on a couple of things that you mentioned here, like while you were talking about all that I found were really interesting. And that was
yeah,
like one of the things you mentioned was there were a lot of people wondering what it was going to try to tackle, whether it was going to try to tackle Overwatch or whether it was going to try to tackle Counter Strike.
mm,
And And when you said that, like, it popped into my mind. I was like, I remember that waiting period where we were like, what are they doing?
It was like 2 or 3 years where like, "Oh, yeah, we have a shooter game coming up," and then there's like, nothing.
Yep.
And everyone's like, "What do you just say something. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?"
We are doing this.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there was
doing the thing,
yeah, there
you
was a
know?
million and one speculation videos over the
Yeah.
course of like those 3 years that were just drawing out and like rereading the same like 2-line statement from Riot Games saying they had a shooter coming. So there's a whole bunch of reaction videos and theorizing what it could be and stuff like that. And like when they actually did it, and I mean this is something that, like we said, has kind of been the bread and butter of video games in general. And I feel like they kind of tackled both Counter-Strike and Overwatch. They took the Overwatch crowd, which was tired of a game that only got updates once every like 6 to 12 months, realistically, that was way too slow to balance heroes. Brigitte, who released into Overwatch, completely broken. It took people all of like 3 days to figure out how to play her, and then she was busted for like a year and a half before they finally nerfed her enough times. They nerfed her like 20 times through different patches over that cycle, and they just refused to do enough. They had to eventually change her kit into something else because of how strong she was. So, you know, you take the Overwatch crowd that is sick of a developer that just refuses to make changes on a regular basis, which, I mean, Blizzard has shown that they do with World of Warcraft, with Hearthstone before it was in the state that it is now, where they release regular updates. Heroes of the Storm, early in that's lifetime, also incredibly slow updates. And that crowd's like, we need something different, we need something fresh. And then you take the Counter-Strike community, who are like the sweatiest of the sweaty shooter players, and they're like, we want something else to learn. You know, you can only get so good at jiggle peeking, at bunny hopping, at like, you know, like your aim skill, you know, like, and they wanted another challenge. They wanted something else to spice up the gameplay a little bit. And Valorant came in and was like, we got you both. They release regular updates. They have great servers. They have like the heroes inside of the game that each have their own unique skills and abilities and things like that like add another layer of depth to the first person shooter that was originally Counter-Strike similar. And in my opinion, personally, I mean, I think the guns in general are a little bit more new player friendly than in Counter-Strike. I think it's a little easier to learn all those skills, and they had like a shooting range built in and things like that to be able to like aim train and stuff like that in the game. And like I think they really did a lot of things right for both sides of the community to say, hey, those of you who like your game but don't love it, we have a home for you here. You know,
Yeah,
they really took the best of both worlds and kind of mashed it into one game. And I don't play Valorant anymore, but I think like for someone looking to get into that kind of a hardcore FPS game, I think that's the best place to start right now. I mean, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. Can you think of any game that's like more new player friendly, like for getting started into a hardcore FPS and like really learning like the fine mechanical skill of shooter games? I mean, would you recommend?
I think I would agree. Like as far as like a hardcore FPS goes, I think that's about as player friendly as it gets.
I think so too.
Yeah,
Because there's no other game with built-in, like you said, built-in like practice range, where you can practice skill and your aim. I mean, Overwatch has one now, but it didn't before, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I agree, 100%.
I feel like Overwatch is just it feels so casual now.
It
Like
really does.
It doesn't feel competitive in the slightest, even when playing competitive.
I played a couple of ranked games with back when I tried Overwatch the last time. Like I play a little bit of casual quick play every now and then, like pick up games with my friends if they want to play Overwatch. But it was with your mod Mustache actually.
Oh really?
I played some ranked with him, and I qualified into plat. And I hadn't played Overwatch in months.
That was a couple months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or like
yeah, it was like 6 months ago now.
Was he playing Reinhardt?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I mean, I hadn't played Overwatch in like 8 months to a year at that point. It had been a long time. And I just like rolled up and qualified into plat. And I was like, what am I doing here? Like,
yeah.
You know, it was kind of fun, but it really is. It's casual, and that's fine.
But you feel like you fit in too, right? Like like the skill gap isn't even like that insane. Like I feel like you can adapt on the fly at Overwatch and just I feel like anyone could jump into Overwatch and play it for like a month and be very, very average at that game.
Yeah.
At least average.
And it's kind of interesting because like I feel like the abilities are more unique and more impactful than in Valorant, but it still isn't as hard to learn.
Yeah. I think the shooting itself is just more casual. Like minus the abilities. Like the shooting doesn't feel very hard.
Well, mainly because the shooting isn't the most important part. I would say the
are much more important in Overwatch than your shooting, for sure.
Yeah, your abilities make a much bigger difference, whereas Valorant, like it's all aim skill, and like your abilities kind of accent your ability to land those shots. Like a lot of what you use in Valorant is your abilities to enter, like when you go into a room and like you're trying to kill people.
It's more tactical.
Yeah,
What were you saying, Harold?
they're utilities. They're
Yeah.
not like the main gameplay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So we've kind of covered Valorant and Overwatch here a little bit. We can kind of lump those in together. So we've
Okay.
we've kind of already done Overwatch here, I feel like, and we've gotten some decent discussion in on that. But let's talk about Halo. I
Mm.
mean, Halo has such a warm spot in my heart. I have nothing but love for that series. I mean, even as bad as the last couple have been, arguably, I think the campaign has always like stayed interesting. I didn't get to play the campaign for Halo 5, and I think that's why I still have like a fond memory of the campaigns. Because a lot of people I've heard hated the Halo campaigns. What was the last Halo game you played, Harold?
I think OST was the last one I played.
Oh, the ODST. Okay, got you.
ODST. There you go. Sorry.
Was it the remaster?
No, I played
Oh,
the the 360.
oh
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, that was back in the day. What about you, Joker? What was the last Halo
Uh,
game you played?
it's funny. Mine was actually the same one on the
Yeah.
Xbox 360.
Wow. So neither of you have played the Master Chief Collection.
No.
No.
Okay, so if you guys are fans of nostalgia and you played Halo 1 and Halo 2, like or even if you just played Halo 1, like I would load up your Game Pass and install the Master Chief Collection and just play through some of the intro campaign and hear the music again. And like if you hate yourself, load into a multiplayer match because people are sweaty and they're way better than you at Halo and it is what it is. But like just for that little hit of nostalgia, like just load in and like experience that a little bit because the Master Chief Collection I think is really well done. Easily one of the best one of the best remasters that has been released to date, and like I still think it holds up very well personally. Did you guys see the trailer for the most recent like Halo Infinite game, or
Yeah.
like the one that's coming out?
Hmm.
Okay, so Harold, you first. Thoughts on the trailer?
I thought it was cool. I mean, right, I'm excited for a new game,
Hmm.
obviously, and I mean, Halo being Halo, I'm excited to see what it brings. Like not was there? I didn't see anything like that like really popped out for me actually. Like, um, that's just my opinion, but
Hmm.
I'm excited to see another Halo game for sure. It's been way too long.
What about you, Joker? Thoughts on the new Halo trailer?
I think it looks really cool. Um, like Leemer said, I feel like it didn't really show us anything we haven't seen before yet. But I also feel like that could be a good thing. It really reminded me of Halo 3 kind of just like the way it looked.
Hmm.
And I think that when it comes to those kinds of things, if they're like nostalgia grabbing, it's either going to be really good or it's gonna go up in flames. So we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, and I think you're going to have people from both camps who are like, we love this game because it's Halo and we're nostalgic for Halo and awesome new Halo, and awesome new Halo, for all
Yeah,
intents and
yeah,
purposes,
definitely.
awesome new Halo. But at the same time, you have to look at it from the standpoint of, like is this becoming the new Call of Duty? It has stayed the same for so long and arguably hasn't worked for the last two generations of Halo. I mean, Halo 5 and Halo 4 were very, very criticized in their time. There's some fond memories of Halo 4 now, looking back on it, for the people like who, go back through the Master Chief Collection and play it nowadays, and it's cool. But even still, everybody that I talk to is like, Halo 3 was peak Halo. You know?
I agree.
Heard that a lot.
Yeah, like that is the one that everybody I talk to gets
Yeah.
nostalgic about, and most people want to forget. I mean, Halo 4 and Halo 5 even existed. I mean, like everybody that I hear from, they're bummed out when they talk about Halo 4 and 5. So not only is Halo supposed to be the flagship game for the Xbox Series X and Series S, which ended up getting delayed, which I think for good reason given the trailer,
Yeah.
because like you said, I mean, it's cool, it's Halo, it looks clean, but it doesn't show us anything that like makes me want to play it right now.
There was no substance. Like, what are we getting out of this besides what we know we're gonna get from a Halo game? Like, what is new here that will pull me in? Somebody who's gone away from Halo for so long, other than pure nostalgia value. I don't see anything yet.
Yeah. I mean, did you see anything, Harold, that would make you say, I want to buy this Halo game right now in the whole trailer?
I did not.
Like,
I,
especially with the wide availability of other
I-
games. Sorry, what were you
yeah,
Yeah.
saying?
I said it's probably gonna be a sit and watch for me.
Yeah,
Another,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. And
Side note: before we move on to another game, did you like the campaign for ODST? That
I
was
I, I
I
did.
really liked that campaign. I thought it was really cool. It was different.
I think it helped that I played most of the campaign co-op with my buddy. Like
mhm.
Oh yeah.
like I mean I haven't done like a couch co-op game before that in quite a while, I think. So just having that and bringing me back just helped the experience a lot.
Yeah,
But
that game,
the story was great.
it was really cool. It was way different. And that was the first time you played as Spartan that wasn't Master Chief, right?
Yep, it
I think
was.
that's why I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
So, moving forward, I mean, that was a good thing to touch on. Like, was the campaign for Halo, and I think we can all agree that like Halo has had some of the was kind of the flagship for narrative-driven campaigns, at least on console, because you know we're counting Half-Life in this discussion also. And while Half-Life was kind of like the hallmark for campaign and shooter games, Halo
Yeah.
has done a really good job of keeping their narrative interesting and compelling, and having characters that we really care about more than, I mean, potentially any other character in a first-person shooter game. I mean, I would say that
Yeah.
Master Chief as a character is potentially the most recognizable first-person shooter character on the planet.
He's huge.
I mean,
Definitely.
Oh yeah, actually,
I
I think
mean,
you're right about that. I mean, if you think about any other FPS game like character, there's like nothing stands out.
it's basically like Doom guy from
Yeah, I was
Doom.
gonna say Doom guy maybe.
Guy.
Yeah, he's close. And then I mean, you've got like Captain Price, but isn't he a supporting character in Call of Duty? You don't play as him, correct?
Yeah.
His price.
Yeah. So
Always has his partner.
yeah,
Mhm.
as far as like mainline protagonist, I mean, you say Master Chief and Cortana, and like every schmuck on the street will know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Even gamers, even non-gamers.
Yeah. Yeah, he is the icon for first person shooters, I feel like, definitely for first person arena shooter games. But like looking at another juggernaut in the industry that kind of has that same level of recognizability, even though it's not a character but a franchise. I mean, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This is a game that I've tried to play a few times, and like it's cool, and I gave it a shot. I gave it an honest go. It is not for me. Again, I just don't want to sweat that hard, and I think it actually has a higher barrier for entry than even Valorant does. I think it's harder to learn at the start, but I think that like once you understand the basic mechanics, you're farther ahead than most Valorant players need to be. Like I think the time that you have to invest to get to like to say be an average player is higher in Valorant than it is in Counter-Strike. Like as a casual player on the outside looking in, I had a much easier time getting into Valorant and learning the mechanical skills on that game than I did in than I did in Counter-Strike. Personally, coming from Overwatch and knowing the abilities, but just like first time in there, looking at both of them, like being able to be an average Counter-Strike player, you don't have to worry about all the abilities and all the extra stuff that you have to worry about in Valorant. And I think that it's a lot easier to be like, okay, once I learned this like very, very, very ruthless, steep set of mechanics that you have to learn to be good at Counter-Strike, I'm in. And then in Valorant, it's like you learn the mechanics and then you learn all the abilities and everything else on top of that. So like Harold, you've been a Counter-Strike player for a while. You were the first Counter-Strike player that I knew personally. And like, tell me a little bit about your experience with this game.
Oh, I started with 1.6 way back when, just like downloading it on my cousin's computer whenever I came over and just playing deathmatch and like that was fun for a while. And then I got Condition Zero, which was like just pretty much a 1.6 update with some of the games, some of the gameplay and textures and stuff like that and maps. And then back on CS:GO right when that came out. Um, Super fun for me because again, competitive side, sweaty side, tactical. I love tactical. I love being tactical, but it's frustrating when your teammate doesn't want to be. So I think for me that's my again my bread and butter, just tactical FPS, right? But CS:GO, yeah, like you said, like super hard to learn just going in because you're all shooting your gun, and if you don't know the recoil pattern, you're like, my gun is not shooting where my crosshair is. What's going on? And you're like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense at all. And then you see other people just like spraying and getting like 4 kills, and they're like, how are they doing that? Oh, like, oh, recoil? What's that? It's like just pull down left, right, whatever, and you're just like, how much do you have to practice and get good at that? Quite a lot.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy to think about, but definitely really high skill barrier until you get to that point, and after that it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And once you get average, you're at a good spot in that game.
Have you
After that, it's learning very, very, very technical details.
have you played any Counter-Strike, Joker?
Yeah, I have.
Did you- Did you play
I
ranked?
tried. Yeah, I did a
Okay.
little bit. I never got very far. I only got into it because my buddy Jimmy or Trevor, he was really into that game for a
Mm.
while, and like you said, I really gave it an honest go, but I couldn't do it. I am not a competitive player, so that kind of game just doesn't resonate with me very much.
Yeah, and
Right.
something he mentioned was the recoil patterns in
Uh,
Counter-Strike. And like when I first had to learn that, like when I first did not understand that and I hadn't had anybody tell me, like I tried Counter-Strike Global Offensive by myself for the first time. I didn't have anyone there to like coach me or explain the game to me or anything like that. And I load in and I'm pointing at people and I'm clicking on people with my mouse, and I swear I'm clicking on people with my mouse and they're just walking
yeah,
away,
dude.
or they're bursting me down immediately, and I'm not landing any shots. I mean, I'm looking at my bullet holes and you swear I would have just shot at them with a shotgun because of like where the bullet holes were on the wall, because my sprays were just that erratic because I didn't understand recoil control at the time, you know? But you're like you have to learn the recoil of every single individual gun and how exactly the pattern to pull your mouse down and all that stuff. And then I see other people spray guns and they make it look easy. All their spray patterns are like a pin needle, you know? Like they're just
See,
incredibly
and
tight, and I don't get
I
it.
I respect that. Like there's skill that goes into doing that. But when I'm playing a shooting game and I'm, 10, maybe 15 feet away from somebody and I fire at them, I would really expect the bullet to go right where I aim. And sometimes it's incredibly frustrating for me to like aim at somebody's head and not hit their head just because the bullet wants to go
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it. I don't know. We got curved barrels in these games.
Here and your bullet like goes like right here.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, unless you're standing still, because most of the first shots are dead on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm not that good, so clearly I'm missing my first shot. But
Yeah, and I think everybody has a healthy amount of respect for Counter Strike and like the mark that it's made on the industry, and like
yeah,
how
absolutely.
how it's been kind of the biggest esport and really the thing that pushed esports forward, if you will. I mean, Overwatch League did some interesting things to like reinvent with having teams based around cities and all that stuff, and really like having the games aired on ESPN and all that stuff. But even then, I think Counter Strike League had their games on ESPN channels already, even before Overwatch did it. And they've always had that worldwide recognizability and like that real competitive spirit like built into the game. And I think that they deserve a lot of credit for just like how widely recognized video games are today and
I
widely
agree.
accepted they are. You know?
Yeah,
I think just to add on to that a little, I think it helps that they actually have there's like multiple organizations that run very wide tournaments
Mm,
for Counter Strike, and they run so often that there's almost a tournament like every month. So like you're not there's always something to tune into, and it helps like people just like watch and grow and like pay attention more when that happens.
hmm
And because it's almost like in tennis, they call it a grand slam when you win four of the major titles. It's
mhm.
the same thing in Counter Strike. There's four major um, organizations that run worldwide tournaments, and if you win all four, it's called a grand slam. It's like it just hypes it up so much more, and I think that it like adds so much more to esports when uh, things like that happen and for a game.
dude, esports hype is unreal.
It really is.
Like it,
Yeah.
it gets going more than some sports that I've seen. Like it's pretty nuts. Some of those live tournaments, people are go crazy.
Oh yeah,
I
like
love it.
they sell out football stadiums for esports tournaments, like filled, like
That's crazy.
Why was that so funny?
That's crazy. Like football stadiums. I mean, because I mean, when I think of that, I mean, like I'm an NFL fan. I mean, for those of you who don't care about football, I apologize, but I mean, I look at teams like the Browns who can't even sell out their stadium.
Yeah,
Look at teams like the Jets this year who can't sell out their stadium. They can't win games. Like
Right.
and then these guys roll up with their video game tournament and they set up 10 computers and then the entire stadium sells out. Like
dude, like League of Legends, like have you seen their ceremonies for worlds and stuff?
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
like
They
we're
got holograms and
yeah,
stuff. Dude, it's crazy.
like in Seoul, Korea, like
Mhm.
World, like when they held Worlds
Yeah,
there, it's nuts. Like the production value that goes into that was like I think it's probably pretty comparable to the Super Bowl of like I mean, in my opinion.
Personally, as a gamer, I would say it's better than the Super Bowl. I think the Super Bowl has
yeah.
sucked for the last like 10 years. I mean,
We need a good performer.
kind of a hot take there, but like I think the Super Bowl has been a snooze fest. The commercials been letting me down. Usually I don't care about who's in the Super Bowl because it's not the Steelers and they're my team. And it's been the Patriots so often that I'd rather not watch. Like, and like again, sorry for football talk. This is a gaming podcast here, okay? It's a gaming podcast, I promise. But like,
in a bag.
yeah. I mean, it's insane the mark that esports is putting on the world. And personally, if I'm a professional football player getting paid millions of dollars, okay, like if the Jets still have any players left on their team because they haven't all been traded off, video game podcast. What am I saying? But as a professional football player, if a video game tournament were coming to my stadium and we couldn't even sell tickets to our own game, and all the nerds rolled out with their laptops and set everything up and then sold out the whole stadium, like I'd be mad.
Yeah, dude.
I'd be a little bummed out. Like, but
that would suck.
But I mean, that's the world we're living in, and that's where realistically where esports is going. I would say that we are a very short distance away from a world where more people are interested in esports than actual sports. Short of like football, like the rest of the world football / American soccer. You know,
yeah.
I think realistically that will like live and breathe for as long as the world lives and breathes. Because I really think that's the world's game. Honestly, everyone plays soccer or football, depending on where you're from. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon. But like, I would definitely not be surprised to see esports overtake the popularity of football.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
so.
Somebody go.
How about these FPSs?
Right. Yeah. So.
Tangent.
Yeah, so moving on to the next one, and I think it's fitting that like Rainbow Six Siege is listed right after Counter-Strike, because for me, like as someone who was never really interested in Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six Siege was the game I wanted Counter-Strike to be. Very slow, very methodical, like massively destructive environments, unique characters in some way. They all have their own like gadgets, not on the same level as Valorant or Overwatch, but like unique heroes that you could play as with their own weapons, like recoil patterns that were a lot easier to manage because the recoil wasn't as intense as Counter-Strike, and then like a super sweaty ranked scene to boot. It's got it all, and incredible game servers, and it's incredibly well optimized for how good it looks. You know, have you guys both played Rainbow Six Siege?
Yeah.
I haven't played it that much.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little, for me, it was a little too slow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a very aggressive playstyle in Counter-Strike, so when it's Siege, I'm just like, I just want to run in.
Yeah, slow is the meta in Siege for sure. It's hard to play aggressive.
Yeah, you shoot a hole in a wall that is roughly a half an inch by half an inch in circumference, and and then you peek through that tiny hole, and then you shoot people as soon as you see a pixel move, and you're ready because you've taken Adderall for the last 12 days straight, so you're prepared for anything to move on your screen so that you can blast it immediately and win your ranked game.
Yeah, the hole is about the size of a dime on your monitor.
Yeah,
it's just you just have to see. Yeah, man, that game's crazy.
Yeah,
my respect of Siege comes from its start, actually. Like that game was like nobody paid attention to it at all. Like it just had the worst launch ever.
It was very uninteresting at launch.
Yeah, but then it had one of the craziest comebacks I've ever seen. Like this game is huge now for a lot of different people, and I think it had a lot to do with the amount of like free weeks they had. They fixed the game up, added a whole lot of updates, and then I'm pretty sure it went free every Sunday or Saturday for like months. It would just go free every week, and I think eventually enough people caught on to it, and then here we are now. The starter edition was a great idea too. Forgot about that. $15. Play the game. Might not have all the operators, but you're in.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, and I know Harold, that you said you hadn't played like Siege a whole lot, but like even as someone who doesn't play Siege a lot anymore, which is, I mean, my place personally, but it's a game that will always have a lot of respect in my heart. Mainly, again, because of how good the game runs, how well the servers work. They're regularly banning people on their anti-cheat. It sends messages in chat when people get banned. Like, it'll say, this player was just banned. Like, and those messages are going off constantly. Like, Ubisoft is constantly trying to be on top of improving their game and making meaningful changes to their game. And I will plant my flag and die on this hill here. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I think, objectively speaking, regardless of what your play style is and what kind of game you want to run around and play, and like your personal preference of shooters, just speaking objectively as, is this a good game or not? I would say Rainbow Six Siege is the best all around, like taking every category into account, the best first-person shooter on the market. just because of how much they do right, and especially coming from where they started.
Yeah, I think where they started has a huge impact on me. Like I just respect that game so much because of its roots, you know. But even today, it's just a really I like the slow pace stuff. I like creeping around and camping out corners and stuff. So that game just, and plus with all the abilities on all the different characters, like it's more than just shooting a gun. Like you actually have other things you can do, different objectives, different types of objectives to complete. Like I think it's a very good game in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for people that are really good at the game because I know that the game is very, very difficult. I mean, I've tried watching a lot of streamers play it, and I'm like, that's like a lot of big brain plays. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that game's hard.
It
Like,
really
it's
is.
a good game. Like, it's just not for me personally, but
Yeah.
I do agree that that game's a great game.
Yeah, and something that you mentioned a couple of times now, Joker, is like where the game came from, and this is something that I'm coming to call the Ubisoft touch. They release an absolute stinker of a game too early to make the publisher happy, and it's terrible, and it gets raked over the coals by the entire community, and everybody's disappointed, and then they take about a year.
They're like, wait a second.
They take all the extra development time they needed the whole time, and they make it better, and they do some insane marketing because they've got a brilliant marketing team over all of their games.
Save them every time. Their marketing team is prime, dude. Without them, they would have been toast.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
because
and
we've
you've seen like their commercials for like, is it like Far Cry where like they have like
yeah.
a Wayne like on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ad.
dude.
Their marketing team is like so good.
I
Yeah.
like the Ubisoft touch. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I mean, the only other game that comes to mind immediately is For Honor. They did the same thing with For Honor. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but
Yeah.
For Honor on launch was objectively terrible. I mean, it was widely regarded as a flop. I mean, there were not a lot of people that enjoyed it. The campaign was actually pretty cool. I played through it. I thought it was fun. I actually really enjoyed For Honor, and personally, like, I could easily see a scenario where that is the future of fighting in video games, is the fighting combat style that they developed specifically for that game. It makes you feel more connected to your character than any other third-person action fighting game I have ever played. Just because of like the block system and the attacking and the way that you like move your controller stick around to block from different angles and attack from different angles, like how intuitive everything feels. Like I could easily see that being the future of fighting games, like at least in that style, not like on the 2D plane similar to Smash or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or anything like that. Just like the third person action fighting personally. Like I think For Honor did that best. And Ubisoft really went and took the time and like, again, like put that Ubisoft touch on it for a whole year. They did marketing campaigns on a regular basis. They did free weekends. They did regular updates. They said, this is a game that we believe in and that we know we have something good here. It just needs a little bit more time in the oven to make it better. And they gave it that time in the oven, and seeing them do it with Rainbow Six Siege just warmed my heart, because Rainbow Six is a franchise that's near and dear to my heart. I mean, I played Rainbow Six like way back in the day on my PC. I played Delta Force, if you guys are familiar with that. Like that was like a real early Tom Clancy game.
Did you ever play I think it was Vegas? I think it was on Xbox 360.
I played a ton of Rainbow Six Vegas.
I thought that game was so much fun. I loved that game.
Yeah. And seeing this Rainbow Six come out at launch and be as bad as it was, and then like make that awesome comeback, it warms my heart. I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was actually one of the suckers that bought that game when it came out.
Oh gosh.
So as it like progressively got better and became what it is today, you can imagine my $60 investment finally felt worth it. I was like, yes, dude. My judgment was askew at the moment, but we're back. We're good.
So fun fact.
Back to neutral.
It was about 11 months after launch. So right before the year mark, when they released like the new edition or whatever, I found the gold edition for PlayStation 4 back before I had a PC and I was only a PlayStation 4 gamer. I found the gold edition on clearance at Walmart for $15. And that would have been the $90 edition at launch. And that was quite a pickup, because right after that was like the Rainbow Six Renaissance when it got really good again. And they included all of the content for the next year if you had the gold pass already.
Nice.
So I didn't have to buy any of that. And I was like, perfect. Great timing. So,
dude,
what's up?
I was just gonna bring up the Ubisoft touch again. I think
that
would be a wonderful topic at some point.
Okay, make sure to put that in. Make sure to type that on the list so that we have it.
I'm saying it out loud so that when I go through and look at this, I remember.
Okay. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that for quite a while. They've done it to a few of their games now, but speaking of games that had less than stellar launches, but kind of made comebacks. Destiny 1 and 2.
Oh yep.
As someone who is casually addicted to progression in video games, Destiny has always held a spot near and dear to my heart. I am not like incredible at the game. I'm not doing raid carries or anything like that. I will not be able to, put the whole squad in the Jan sport and go through trials with anybody. That's not me. But I love Destiny. I love RPG games, and I think the gun mechanics in this game are some of the best in any game. Have you played Destiny on a regular basis, Harold? Like since it come out?
Yeah, I played with you for like a month or so, right?
Mhm.
With you and when one of the DLC came out.
Yeah.
It's fun. I really enjoy the game. Yeah, progression and FPS. That's enough for me, dude.
Yeah.
I can stick with that for a while.
What about you, Joker? Do you have any like thoughts, feelings, anything towards Destiny?
I really like Destiny. I played Destiny 1 when I first got my PS4, and I really enjoyed that game. I don't remember too much about it. I think I just played through the campaign and kind of dropped it. And then I sort of did a similar thing with Destiny 2. I played through the campaign. I think I played Endgame maybe like another 2 or 3 weeks, but I played by myself. So it wasn't like super fun to me. I got real bored of it real fast because I didn't have a group. But I do like that game a lot. Like I would that's a game I would play with my friends, absolutely.
Yeah, most certainly. So, like for me personally, Destiny is a game. I mean, they're coming out with a new expansion on November 4th, I believe, is when the newest one comes out. And every time they have new content, I think they do a really good job of hyping it up and making it look awesome. Even though sometimes it's not awesome, they do really good trailers for their games always. I think the story content in Destiny 2 so far has been largely forgettable. Forsaken was a really good expansion, but all the stuff they've done in between has been very middling. Like it's not great, it's not terrible. I just don't like, none of it sticks out to me. I don't care,
Right.
Did you like the main campaign?
I did.
Yeah,
I actually
it
did
was
a
kinda
lot.
cool.
I think that the first 20 hours of Destiny are probably the best hours of Destiny.
Very cool. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Do you have, let's say, did you have any thoughts to add on the campaign question, Harold, for Destiny? I mean,
Oh no, I really enjoy the campaign too.
yeah.
I just want to bring up though, is that Destiny one of the first shooter games to actually begin progression, right?
Well, I mean, you've got things like Call of Duty, which have had like progression, multiplayer progression, where you unlock new guns and skins and camos.
I should like character progression though.
Borderlands probably would
Yeah,
have been.
Borderlands.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I would say, like, aside from like Secret World, which came out alongside a TV show, I believe, which was kind of an MMO and also had some first-person shooter elements for the combat, I believe. I didn't play it personally, but it's a game that I've like glanced at a couple of times. Kind of paved the way for this, but I think that a lot of like the heart for Destiny is from Bungie looking at Halo and being like, we want something that we want to keep playing even after it's gone past its natural life cycle, and that's where Destiny comes in. They wanted something a little more than just the multiplayer, like sweaty lobbies and all that stuff. And I think that this was the natural evolution of what Bungie wanted to do next with Destiny. Was have something that they could play with because a lot of these developers were the guys who started working on Halo 1 back in the day, back in like 1996, whenever development started, up to release in what it was 2003. Is that what we said for Halo? 2001.
2001.
Yeah. So like, and now a lot of these guys, I mean, they're older now. They've got kids, and they want games they can play with their kids.
Yeah.
And as much as you can drop a 6-year-old in a sweaty multiplayer Halo lobby, I wouldn't recommend it. Like it could happen, but they're not going to have a good time. And I think that that's where a lot of the inspiration came from, was them wanting to have something that they could kind of sit back and grind and have a good time with. And I think that I would say Destiny is probably the most casual friendly shooter. At least at the start.
Very casual.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning. I've never done any of the I guess the hardcore content, like the raids or whatever, but
raids or anything like that.
Yeah, but everything I have done feels fairly simple. It's just shoot, you get hurt, hide behind something for a second, shoot some more, like and it's fun. It's strangely addicting. Like it's that progression, man.
Yeah. And I would say for the people who don't want to play like I would say like 5 to 10 hours of this game every day, and like be super sweaty and do trials, which is their competitive. Like I think it's 3v. It used to be 3v3. It might be 4v4 now, unless they went back to 3v3 again in the last update. I don't do trials, so I mean y'all can tell I'm an amateur here. But like, unless you want to be super sweaty and like get really good at the raids and do really good at the ranked PvP and all that stuff, like I think Destiny is a game that is best played 1 to 2 hours a day. I think Destiny is best for the casual gamers. Because I mean, you can get a group of consistent people together and like beat your head into the raid and eventually get through it just playing 1 to 2 hours a night. Like the mechanics aren't so complicated that it's impossible to beat. You know, you look up a guide video and then you just do what they do and you've got it. You know.
Yeah.
But I think that it's a game that's really easy to get burnt out on because there's certain things that get really frustrating at the higher, like at the upper echelon of the game. You know, you get high enough in your ranked matches and everybody's running the same 3 weapons and they're all running the same subclass tree and using the same abilities because that's what works and that's what's good and that's how the meta develops in FPS games, and that's just the name of the game here, you know. But like I stand by this. I think Destiny is a game that is best played just casually. You load in with the boys and you don't gotta sweat. You just shoot things. Loot sometimes pops out of creatures when you kill them that you want, and you get like incremental upgrades as you go. And I think that it
feels good.
I think it was designed to be played that way and keep people coming back day after day, you know, but like I don't think there's enough content in the game that if you want to sweat over it, that it's going to keep you both happy and entertained. I just don't think there's enough for it to be both.
Yeah. I could see that.
But are you guys excited for the new expansion? Do you have any interest in playing this like when the new expansion comes out on November 4th? Or is this more of a wait and see? Let's Harold first. How you feel?
Actually, I haven't seen anything about the new one, so it's probably gonna be a wait and see for me.
Harold was like, people still play Destiny? What?
I know. I mean, I knew stuff was still coming out. I was just like, I don't follow it that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel. What about you, Joker? Any interest? New expansion?
It's a wait and see for me as well. I like Destiny, but it's not on my radar right now.
Up there, unless like the boys are like, yeah, let's get on, and I'm like,
yeah, I feel the same way.
You know?
Yeah. And Destiny is a game that's kind of taken the Ubisoft approach here to like their yearly content releases. They'll usually do like a season pass of some sort and then like a major expansion. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, like if there's Rainbow Six Siege players in the chat, but as far as I know, they also have implemented a seasonal system. They're not releasing yearly games like Call of Duty. It's more of like there is one release, and then after that they add on top of that and they continue adding on top of that. And like there's like timed content that you can only do during this period of time that will be gone next season. So like I think that that's a really good way to do it. I think it's incredibly frustrating that year after year Call of Duty stays as similar as it does and we are still forced to purchase another Call of Duty game. I think realistically you should have the Black Ops dev team. Is that Sledgehammer or is that Treyarch for Black Ops? Do we know?
Treyarch.
It is Treyarch for Black Ops? Okay. Yeah, and then who does Modern Warfare typically? Who was that under? Infinity Ward?
Infinity Ward, yeah.
Okay, and then you have Sledgehammer who does the other games. And I think that you should buy one game for each studio, and then every 3 years when the next one comes out from that studio, instead of just having to constantly buy these yearly releases, if you bought it back then, you've still got it, and it's just an update. I think it's ridiculous that it's 2020 and we're still required to buy a new Call of Duty every single year when it's so freaking similar. It's ridiculous.
I think this is a bit off topic, but like gaming itself is pretty like it's a pretty fresh thing, and I think that a lot of developers are still trying to figure out how to do that and still put out these games that people want, like these clones without. I feel the same way about like FIFA and Madden and all those games. Like instead of just re-releasing essentially the same game every year. Why don't we do like some like World of Warcraft style thing? You buy the main package and then you just buy an expansion every
2 years. Yeah,
but it's not $60. Maybe it's like $20 at most. Like just absurd.
I mean,
I'll just reskin.
It's even more ridiculous with those games because the gameplay is literally the same.
Yeah, and
you just have different players, and even then, how many new players come in a season for a sport?
You can definitely fit that in an update rather than a whole new game. Even like graphical updates. Like if it's really that bad, then make a new game. But until it gets to the point where like there's a clear difference in like graphics and like anything else, I think you just stay on one and add to that. That's what we need to start doing more, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. So we've ended the kind of like discussion about specific games. we're moving on to more the opinion section here. And we've been kind of giving our opinions as we went. So I removed a couple of bullet points that we were going to talk about. But like, do you guys have any bones to pick with certain games? Joker, I'm going to let you get this one first. Any FPS game that you're like, are you kidding me? What's going on here? What bones do you have to pick?
I really feel that way about Valorant and CSGO. Like, that thing I said about like the bullets just not going where they're supposed to go. Like, my gamer brain just hurts, dude. Like, I respect it. I respect the people that can do that properly. But you know, if I have a pistol and I point it at my wall right now, it's not going to go up into the ceiling. It's going to go right where I point it. You know what I mean? That just frustrates me. My barrel is like bent or something. That's my bone to pick. Rant over.
Well, similarly, though, if you pick up a AK-47 right now and you point it at your wall and you pull the trigger, it will actually go up into your ceiling because you probably won't be anticipating the recoil.
You better hold on to it tight. Well, now I will anticipate the recoil. It'll go right where I want it to.
But at the same time, I get where you're coming from. Yeah. When you're aiming down the sights of a weapon, wherever you are aiming down the sights of that weapon, okay? Wherever that may be, when you're looking down the sights, that bullet is going, assuming it's sighted properly, which for video game purposes, nothing ever loses its sighting, and it's sighted properly. It goes where you're pointing at.
And I want my gamer guy to have some strong arms and shoulders and not have any recoil going on that sprays my gun all over the place. Like, just hold on tight, buddy. You got this.
Yeah. You've been trained for this. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are supposed to be the pros using these weapons in video games, so they should have it together by now. And I think that's a good point. I think
just imagine like a SWAT guy just in real life, just like shooting up.
He's doing this, dude.
How much to save people's lives? That's how you're gonna shoot? Come on, man.
Yeah. Just spraying his automatic weapon and it's just recoiling into the ceiling. You love to see it. And I think that is a fair critique. I do. I think if you're gonna have any bone to pick with those two games specifically that are widely regarded as some of the best shooter games in the industry, I think that it would be that is the one thing from the perspective of a casual player that you're like, why?
Yeah,
why?
I'm like super casual.
Even if the recoil is hard to control, why don't my crosshairs follow the recoil pattern so that I can see where my next bullet is going?
Exactly.
I actually strongly agree with that point, even though I did take the time to learn spray patterns and stuff like that in Valorant and got pretty good at it.
Don't get me wrong. I tried my hardest as well, but like in the back of my mind, every time when I miss a shot, it's more so like, damn, I missed that shot, or it's not damn, I missed that shot. It's more like, why is my barrel curved? Why does my guy have weak arms? Like, I just want to blame the game every time.
Everybody else is playing Valorant and Joker's playing Wanted. He's like, curve the bullet around the pillar.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know if y'all saw that movie. I might be showing my age there. It wasn't that old.
I got that one.
Okay, all right. As long as you get it. So what about
Angelina Jolie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What about you, Harold? If you had to pick a bone with any game in the first-person shooter genre, what would it be?
My game would be Modern Warfare, because 200 gigabytes for one game. Are you kidding me?
200.
60 to 80 gigs, like for an update. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
if
another one.
Some people, they're trying to have like a budget build for their PC, and they're getting like a 500 gigabyte like hard drive. That's half your hard drive. Like,
yeah,
that's true.
Other game even passes like 100 gigs. I can't even think of another game that passes 100 gigs, let alone 200 gigs.
I think the big one that people complained about last was Batman Arkham Knight. I think that came in at like 128 on consoles.
Red Dead Redemption was pretty big too, but
right,
that one kind of understandably so.
Yeah, but they have massive worlds that warrant the size of the game.
Exactly, yeah.
But like in Modern Warfare, you have the campaign, some multiplayer maps, and then you have Verdansk. It's not that big.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's not. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
it's crazy.
Crazy, and the glitches in that game, of course, like game breaking glitches. That's like so. Should not in a AAA game.
Go ahead, Joker.
I'm gonna throw a curveball here. Would you say Modern Warfare is probably the shooter on this list you play the most?
As of right now, yeah. I mean, I still don't even. I don't grind it as hard as I grinded like CS:GO or Valorant.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. The past like 2 or 3 weeks.
I was thinking the most recent shooter I've played is Valorant, and that was the first game I thought of when I had a bone to pick with one of these games. And I've seen you play a little bit of Modern Warfare too, so I was I was like, I like how we're both going after the games that are like the most fresh in our brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that first person shooters in general, just because of their natural competitive nature, if you're not playing a narrative first person shooter like Half-Life, like Wolfenstein, like Doom, something like that, I mean, it really gets your angry juices going because that's
Yeah.
just the competitive nature of video games, you know? You get mad at stuff when you lose. What were you saying, Harold?
It just really grinds my gears.
It really does. It really does. Personally, if I had to pick any like first-person shooter to really pick a bone with, I mean, it would have to be the Call of Duty series as a whole. I mean, Harold mentioned like the size of the most recent Call of Duty. Fun fact: if you have a 250 gigabyte solid state drive, which in the current day and age of computers, where most people have a 250 gig solid state drive and then they have a regular hard disk drive in their machine because solid state drives are so expensive, I mean, your Call of Duty game will not fit on your 250 gigabyte SSD.
Yeah.
It won't. You put your operating system on there and then you try to install Call of Duty and there's not enough space. It's literally bigger than most of the hard drive than the solid state drives that people can put in their computer. Are you kidding me? Really, Activision? And they finally made it so that you can uninstall certain parts of the game if you're on PC, but what about the people on console? If you're running an OG PlayStation 4, you have a 500 gigabyte hard drive in your machine. So it takes forever to install it, and it's more than half of the space you have on your console.
You gotta delete your old games, delete old saves. Like, you don't want to do that either.
Cringe.
Exactly. Assuming you want to play Call of Duty, for all intents and purposes, your PlayStation 4, your OG PlayStation 4 that you bought for $400, okay? You bought it for $400 to only play Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's what you're looking at if you try to load that up right now. It's insane, you know?
Rough.
Like, and it isn't just that issue with Call of Duty. It's all of the issues that come with Call of Duty, you know? It's like I said, the fact that we're still paying $60 for it, soon to be $70 as the case may be, year after year, for like strikingly similar games, which I understand if you have a good thing, you know, don't screw it up. By all means, you know, but there's so many things that fans have been asking for that could push the series forward in strong, meaningful ways that they haven't done, that they need to do. It's time for better servers. It's time to test your game properly. It's time not to have beta weekends that are basically just advertisements for your video game, and use that time to actually have a real beta test with the intent of discovering bugs and getting meaningful feedback from your player base that purchases your games and loves your games and wants to support them in the future, you know?
Yes.
Like they've done so many things right with Call of Duty that make it fun. The progression is interesting. The camo system is awesome. The gameplay is quick and snappy. It is one of the most fun, I mean, not necessarily the most competitive or the most interesting, but the most fun, just straight up fun first-person shooters on the market, in my opinion, when it's at its best. And there are so many things that are holding it back from realizing that goal that I cannot look at this series and say I will spend another dollar on you. It is that bad. I have that much love and that much hate for it that I cannot spend any more money on Call of Duty until they take care of the things that they should have taken care of already. For how popular the series is, it's been too long and they've done too little.
Will. Game devs we're in a very naughty time for game developers. They're just getting away with murder out here, dude.
Yeah.
Robbing us.
Early access. Full games are releasing at $70 when the new consoles come out, and they're going to be early access games, and it's crazy. So, and this is kind of like more close to your heart. What is your guys' favorite FPS franchise? We're going to start with you on this one, Harold, since we started with Joker last time. If you had to pick one franchise, favorite FPS franchise.
Ooh, I'm gonna stick with CS for me. CS for me.
Counter-Strike.
At the start, this is my at the start, and I've been there for the start and the finish. I still love that game, still play it, and it's just like that, like comfort pick. Like, what am I trying to play today? Counter Strike. Like,
you just always go back.
That's me. Yeah,
it's Old Faithful. That's a good pick. That's a strong pick. What about you, Joker? Favorite first-person shooter franchise ever?
I think I gotta say Call of Duty, dude. Like, and that's why like you said, man, that's why my heart is smitten so much that the games have just been so tough lately. Like, I haven't truly enjoyed COD. I kind of liked not the Black Ops 4 was the one that introduced the battle royale, right?
I believe it was. Yeah.
I liked
Blackout.
I liked Black Ops 3. I actually enjoyed Black Ops 3 online. And I think that was the last Black Ops that I have enjoyed in a long time. And even Modern Warfare, I guess, had its little kicks where it was kind of fun sometimes, but it's different now, you know?
Yeah, it really is.
Things aren't the same.
It
Could be
doesn't
just
feel the same.
me. Yeah, I could just be getting older, I guess. You know, I'm still a young guy, but like, I don't know. It's
Gotta
just
say,
not.
you're the youngest one here, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't hit me the same way anymore. So if it's not hitting me right, it's definitely not hitting you guys right.
Yeah, Joker.
No, yeah, for sure.
Joker is what, 20?
I'm 20. Yeah.
We can only attribute so much to rose-tinted glasses. Joker is not old enough to feel nostalgia yet. Okay, so like,
Come on.
realistically,
I was there at the Christmas photos. Okay.
that's true. Yeah, he was here in my family Thanksgiving when I was 7.
That's
He was a
right.
fetus, but like. You can only look at a franchise like Call of Duty for so long through rose-tinted glasses and be like, well, it's just, we're getting older and times are changing, so we can't appreciate it as much. No. Activision needs to get it together, and they need to get with the times and make the improvements that we've seen from other games. We know that the technology is there. They lagged it on crossplay for the longest time, and they finally brought it in with Modern Warfare, but they were not the first ones to do it, and realistically, they should have been. I can't think of any game that should have had crossplay before Call of Duty, personally. And they dragged their feet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can't think of a game that was in a better position than Fortnite to bring crossplay, except for Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty had the pull in the industry, had the power behind it. It was a juggernaut of a game. They could have been the one to go to Sony and Microsoft and be like, guys, it's time to play nice. People want to play together. And they didn't do it. They took the exclusivity money from whoever was paying them that year.
Yep.
And it ain't right.
Yep.
It ain't right. If I'm not going to let you guys ask me this one. I'm just going to tell you, because this is like, oh man, this pulls at my heartstrings here. And it's not a game that we have talked about except for in the history section. And I took it off the list because we're running low on time. But Doom.
Yeah.
The last 2 Doom games were so good that both years they came out, they were my game of the year.
I never played the new Doom, but I remember watching you play through it, and I was like, damn, this game looks fun. I've never touched a Doom game before. I've only watched them. But that new one, I almost bought when I watched you play it. I was like, this game looks crazy.
Yep.
I'll let you continue. I wanted to point that out.
Doom Eternal came out this year. That is the most fun game I have played all year long. There might be games that are better and more impactful and more significant, but I don't care. Doom is my game of the year. Doom Eternal was freaking awesome. There was metal music. There was violence. It was fast. There were unique guns. It was blood pumping action the whole time. The enemies were awesome. You could execute enemies in the game. There were like 100 different executions that you could do. I remember when I was playing Doom 2016 for the first time, and I rolled up and I looked at a dude's leg and I used the glory kill option, which is what they call their executions, and I sweeped his leg and I punched his head off. And it was incredible. It was fantastic. I think that if you are feeling worn out by video games and you're feeling bored of video games and stuff feels stale and uninteresting, you need to go back, you need to play Doom 2016, and you need to play Doom Eternal, because those games are made to be fun. They are made to be enjoyable. They are a love letter to the fans of the original arena shooter style gameplay for the first part, because that's how it controls. It's very fast, very like strafe jumping, bunny hopping, rocket jumping, all that stuff, that type of action constantly, and you're moving, and it's blood pumping, and I love it. And I think that you would be hard pressed to find a game that is more fun today in the first person shooter genre than Doom. Mm-hmm. That is in my opinion my favorite.
I respect it. Yeah.
I saw it firsthand. It's crazy. It looks amazing. I would recommend it, and I've only seen it.
Exactly. It's absolutely incredible. And like I picked this game, and that this is with the caveat, by the way, that you just stay away from the multiplayer completely, because the most recent multiplayer iteration is terrible, and they should have stuck with the multiplayer from Doom 2016, which was basically just an arena shooter multiplayer. But they tried to do some kind of like almost like Dead by Daylight or Evolve style like multiplayer, and I don't think it worked well personally. But yeah, still my favorite franchise for sure. I think it's violent. It's you're killing demons, and the set pieces are incredible, and the graphics are incredible, and it's optimized so well. It just, everything works for me. It's firing on all cylinders. It does the Doom thing better than any other game does, and I love it. So, realistically, and this is something we want to do here. Hold up, let me pull up the poll real quick. What I want to know is, for the people in chat, because I know that we have a few people in chat who do play quite a few FPS games. So we're gonna do a stream poll real quick, and oh, you know what? Do I have the poll overlay up? Hold up, oh, you know what? we're just gonna do it like real quick, custom. So in chat, real quick, because I'm not prepared and I'm the worst podcaster ever. If you guys would consider FPS your favorite genre in the chat right now, just push 1 and push enter. Just send a 1 in the chat if you would consider FPS your favorite genre. If you would not consider FPS your favorite genre, just push 2 and send that in the chat right now. Just so that we can get like a quick little metric for anybody who says, hey, FPS is my favorite, FPS is not my favorite. Personally, for me, FPS, not even close. Not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Oh, we have one person. Obviously.
Anyone's in
That's just
chat?
me, dude. That's just
Anyone?
me.
Yeah, Leemer's the one.
Yeah, Leemer loves FPS. We've talked about this. He loves Counter-Strike. He loves all these things. So we've got a couple of responses here so far. Beatty Carry changed. He says both. I believe it's even for him. When I first met Beatty Carry, he was playing a lot of League of Legends, but
Hey, TJ, let's go.
But Valorant came out, and Beatty Carey had been playing a lot of Valorant since I've known him.
I'd be seeing that, yeah.
So I mean, he's been grinding that hard. So I think that's a both from him. So we'll give a half a point to each one there, and then Taylor also a 1. Okay, so it looks like right now, I mean, we've got 4 people in the camp for no, first-person shooter is not my favorite genre, and then we've got 3 people in the camp for first-person shooter is my favorite genre. And obviously, this is a very small sample size, but I think that this is pretty representative of like what our results would be. I would say most people would say that FPS is their favorite genre, just speaking on the standpoint of a casual gamer.
Right.
If you're not touching like the sports games crowd, which most of my friends aren't the sports games crowd, I think like outside of them, the people who exclusively play like Madden or FIFA and literally no other video game ever, I think most people would find that FPS is their favorite genre. Like just like the majority would be, like probably 40% of people would say that FPS is their favorite genre, and then the other like 60% would be a mix of all the other genres. Just because I think shooters are that big of a genre.
I think FPS is a very interesting genre for that specifically, because like I think some of the most casual gamers I know are just people that turn on Call of Duty at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I think shooters are both like one of the most casual genres, but are also capable of being one of the most competitive genres. Like it goes both ways entirely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Harold, like, would results like this surprise you on a larger scale if you saw that like roughly 60 to 70% of people said that first-person shooters were their favorite genre out of any game?
Not surprised at all. I mean, if you really think about it, FPS is just so diverse. Like, you have storytelling games, you have the competitive games, you have the super casual, you have the quick, you have the long, you have the tactical, you have the non-tactical. Like, there's just so much in that genre where I will agree that most people will say it's their favorite just because they have like a niche inside of FPS in general.
Yeah.
It's just like so wide. And I mean, if you think about it, like, yeah, like all sorts of people play FPS games. It's just what kind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, realistically, it's like you said, there really is an FPS game for everybody. I mean, from the ground up. I mean, even and I mean, yeah, y'all might not consider this FPS, but I mean, it is in the first person Minecraft, you know? You can shoot a bow in that game. It is from the first person perspective. It is not a first person shooter, but like I know that there are people who would like lump some Minecraft mods in with, you know, that because Minecraft has the ability to do certain things like that.
Right.
But like the first person genre specifically like has so many like different facets to it. You have the Destiny that is your casual progression or hardcore progression, like raiding, like sweaty PvP and trials, all that stuff. And then you also have Valorant, you know, which is your PC sweaty, like 5v5, like tournament style, very esports centric, like shooter game. And then similarly, you have Call of Duty, which hits the entire casual crowd, you know,
right.
And everybody plays Call of Duty. Everybody knows Call of Duty. And then you have your console exclusives like Halo, you know, which I mean, touches every crowd that Call of Duty doesn't touch because it's like kind of the arena shooter style of gameplay. So for people who like that a little bit more than just Call of Duty. And then on top of that, you have Battle Royale. Arguably the hottest of the hot new genres outside of maybe roguelike games. But like I would say on a more widespread level, Battle Royale has impacted a far larger audience than even roguelike games, as much as they've had a resurgence like in the last like 5 years. Like Battle Royale reaches such a massive audience and most of those are first person shooters. So much so that PUBG, which came out originally as a third person shooter and was intended to be only a third person game, had so many people asking for first person mode, at least in the American scene, over, I believe in Korea and the Chinese market, like third person is still the premier mode for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. But like in America, first person is the dominant mode in PUBG, and that was intended to be a third person shooter. You know, there is so much swing behind this one genre. There is so much pull behind this one genre that it would not surprise me to see the majority of people say, first person shooter is it. That's the bread and butter of video games, you know? Like, I think for a lot of people, first person shooters are the core of their video game experience.
I think so too. I think just being first person in general, it just makes you feel like you're in the game. Like you
Yeah.
are that person. I mean, like what do you play games for? To get out of the real world and to experience something else. And I think that being first person just puts you that much more into the game.
So, like, obviously touching on something that's not like first person shooter specifically here, racing games, I believe, are typically designed to be played in the third person view. So you can see like where your car is turning and all that stuff. But have you guys had a chance to like play first person view in racing games? Have you tried it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I have a funny story about that.
It's incredibly immersive. I mean,
yeah,
it honestly, I think is one of the greatest experiences in video games, especially if you can get like a racing wheel and all that stuff set up. Like, what's your story? I want to hear your story.
That's kind of what I was gonna get into. At Trevor's house, he bought himself a wheel to play dirt.
Oh gosh.
And then he's got like the pedals on the ground.
Nice.
So we'll go into first person and we'll just play that. It's pretty immersive, man. Like,
yeah.
Granted, sometimes the steering wheel unclamps from the desk and you're kind of like, gosh, like it's falling all over the place. But if that thing was really locked in there and maybe I had like a more of like a racing type seat, you know, like I would really feel like I was in there. Put some VR goggles on.
Oh yeah.
Get some movement going in there. You're there.
Dirt specifically, I consider Dirt to be kind of the Dark Souls of racing games. I think it's arguably the most difficult racing game that you can play.
Hard.
Like, but
and you also got those people that are super into it, where they have like 3 screens and it's like all around them. So it's like you're really
you
in
can
the
like
car,
look
you know?
around.
You look over here and it's like a mountain, and then you look over here, there's the guardrail.
You got your review mirrors on the side.
Yeah. Like,
and the last thing that I'm going to touch on before we close, because we are nearing the 2-hour mark here, so we have had quite a bit of discussion about first person games. Is speaking specifically about the multi-screen thing, Titanfall. We didn't bring this up, but the first time that you drop down a Titan and you see your character's arms climbing inside of the Titan, or it picks you up and it puts you inside of its chest, and then all the screens load up and turn on. Like, the rush that you get from that the first time that you do it is incredible, and it's like nothing else. And that's
Yeah. No, sorry. You can continue.
I mean, I was just going to say, that's the kind of experience that you only get playing first-person shooter games, is moments like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, like, that was the moment for me in Titanfall, was that sitting in the cockpit and seeing those screens flash on, I thought was the coolest thing, because you're like, I'm still playing as this guy, but I am this guy controlling this robot from the inside. Like, and even what you were seeing, like, as you were playing as the Titan, you could still tell that you were in some kind of like cockpit. It never felt like your vision was entirely the Titans. Like, it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was absolutely excellent. I couldn't end the first person shooter podcast without bringing up Titanfall, because I think realistically that has been the biggest catalyst for like pushing forward the first person shooter genre even more, and in the right way, because I don't think that Call of Duty did like the double jump and the wall running and all that stuff nearly as well as Titanfall. I don't think they ever will, and I think they realize that, and that's why they're kind of going back the direction that they're going now, trying to make it more traditional Call of Duty, is because Titanfall did it better than anybody, and the vehicle combat feels incredible, and it feels intuitive, and it makes you feel like you're there, and it's like, I can't say incredible enough times about Titanfall. It feels so good. It's so good.
It's a wonderful
perfect
game. I'm mad I've completely blanked on putting that on the list. We could have had a big old discussion about that game.
It actually was on the list, but unfortunately, like, it's not I had to call an audible and take it off of the list because we're approaching the 2-hour mark. So
I was about to shame myself for not writing that one down, dude.
We brought that one up. We'll probably, like, at some point after this series of talking about genres is over, just do an entire podcast episode about Titanfall and how great it is, and we'll basically just like hype each other up the whole time about the fact that we can be inside of Titans, and like we'll high five each other and it'll be great, and we'll just like, back rubs, that sort of thing. Yeah, really good time.
Especially back rubs.
Yeah, especially back rubs. So, real quick, if anybody doesn't already know where to find you, Joker, where can they find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/theordinaryjoker. It's where I stream 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every day, except weekends, because I'm here. How
Excellent.
about you, Vince?
If you don't know where to find me, you can find me right here on my channel that you're watching. If you're one of the best listeners ever and you're here for the live show, we appreciate you. You can find me on twitch.tv/justvince. Also, you are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter at Vince0094 for clips of my cat playing Path of Exile and just random thoughts throughout my day, notifications about what I'm doing or what my plans are, all that sort of thing. And I usually play during the weekdays, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And Harold, if anyone wants to find you and more of your content, where can they find you at?
Yeah, you guys can find me twitch.tv/Leeemur with 3 E's. My Twitter is LeeemurTTV because that name was taken. I usually stream around 10 p.m. PST on weekdays and then sometimes during weekends.
Now, again, also, guys, Harold is one of my lifelong friends. We have been very excited to have him on the show. He's an awesome guy. I vouch for him personally. I've known him for pretty much like as long as I've been alive. Like outside of the first 6 years of my life, I have known Harold the rest of my life. That's 20 years. So if you want some cool content from a cool guy, be sure to check out his channel. Do us a favor, give him a follow. Harold, it was absolutely amazing to have you on the show.
Yeah, that was awesome.
We appreciate you being here.
I'm so excited to be on here, especially because we're talking about FPS games, which you all know.
Yeah.
Is my thing.
That is Harold's bread and butter. Also, for anyone who wants to send in any questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, etc., you want to send us friendly mail, please don't send us nudes. You can send it to gamingtonic1@gmail.com. Except for my mods, you guys can send us nudes. You know that. We accept those anyways. If you would like to be a guest on the show... Yes, sir. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, we do have a link in the live stream for you right there. You can click on that form and apply to be on the show yourself. All you need is a solid mic, a working webcam, and a desire to podcast and the ability to talk with me and Joker about a topic that we choose, that you have to talk about because we chose you to be on the show. It has been absolutely amazing to have you guys here. It has been a joy. It has been a pleasure. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as always. We will be live again next Saturday with another pre-show at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and then with a live show again at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We will not be having a guest next week because we're doing every other week guest and then no guest. So next week it's going to be just me and Joker heading it up. I hope you guys are ready for it. I hope you guys are excited. It's been a pleasure as always. Take care, and thank you so much.
Bye!